Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Susan's Just Making It. I'm Susan and I'm here making stuff, messes, chaos, and trying to make it through life. If you've been here before, I'm glad you stopped back by, and if this is your first time watching, welcome to my channel. This is the second video in a little series of sorts. I wanted to start doing some crafting / home decor projects to share with everyone. The last video I did an intro that I'm going to be doing some different decor trays to put home decor on, to make little vignettes and little groupings to put on stands, tables, whatever. In the last video I did an octagon shaped tray that I picked up at a thrift store, and I made that over, and I was going to do these all in one video. I decided to split them down into several videos so that the videos didn't get too long. You could pick and choose what you wanted to watch, or if you watch the videos and want to come back and just do one of the projects, you can pick just that video to rewatch, or whatever the case may be. So in this video I'm going to redo this 2-pack of wood risers. I picked these up at the bargain bin store for $1 for both of them. I believe they originally, you can see the tag came off, I believe they originally were in a Target dollar spot. I'm guessing probably $3 or $5 ish. I don't know if they would still have these available at Target, but I'm sure you could probably find these someplace like Amazon, or you could probably even make your own with a round piece of wood and maybe like some wooden thread spools, or I guess you could probably even use round wood beads to make your little feet. But anyway, we're not going to do anything elaborate with these. Originally I was going to paint them and put a stencil on them, but I thought that was counterproductive, because if you place something on the riser you're not going to see the stencil, so I didn't think that made a lot of sense. If you were going to leave it with nothing on it, obviously that would be really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out of the package, and all I'm really going to do with these is paint and distress them. So this is going to be a short video because I think we all know how to paint. So I don't think you want to like watch me paint. If I do decide to record actually painting them, it'll be at a higher speed, because like I said, I'm pretty sure you know how to paint. So let me just throw that aside. They are slightly different in size. One's a little bit smaller than the other, as you can see here. Not much, but just slightly different size. I'm going to paint them 2 different colors so I can use them either separately or together, and they'll coordinate but not be the same. The octagon tray that I made over, I used this Waverly Ivory, but I decided this time instead of the ivory I want to go with white. So one of them I'm going to paint white, one I'm going to paint black. The black that I'm going to use is going to be this Folk Art home decor chalk paint, and the color is rich black, and this is a chalk paint that's soap and water cleanup, which makes it so much easier to use. And then for the white I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum chalked ultra matte paint in linen white. Again, this is soap and water cleanup, so that makes it a lot easier to clean up when you're done with your project. Both of these I purchased on Amazon. If I remember, I will put links down in the description box to these paints if they're still available. I don't remember how much they were, but if I remember, or I can look it up and find out, I will put that down in the description box alongside the link. Now I do have an affiliate. I'm an affiliate with Amazon. I've not gotten any sales through my affiliate links yet, but just for transparency, the links down in the description box will be affiliate links where I'll make a few cents if you purchase through the link. It will not cost you anything extra. It's just Amazon will give me a small commission. So again, I purchased these from Amazon. They weren't very expensive. I don't think this was maybe around $10, because this is the larger one that's 16 ounces, and this one may have been a little bit pricier, but I really can't remember because it's been a while since I purchased it. So with that being said, we're going to like I said, we're going to paint these. The larger one I'm going to paint white and distress it. My plan is to use this in some fall decor coming up. And the smaller one, I'm going to paint black and distress it and use this for Halloween decor. Now, with them being black and white, they can be used outside of the fall and Halloween season. Farmhouse has a lot of black and white, so it would work out well throughout the year. Obviously, you can paint them whatever color you want if you decide to do the same, you know, whatever works for your decor. That's just what I'm doing, the black and white. So, and as you can see, not only are they slightly different in size, the larger one is lower and the smaller one is a little bit taller, so you can use them side by side on top of each other, however you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the larger one, paint it white, switch over to the smaller one, paint it black, and then we'll distress them a little bit. Super easy project. I'm going to start on the bottom and then paint the top. I guess you really wouldn't have to paint the bottom if you didn't want to. I'm going to, just because I think it'll look better. Not that anyone's going to see it, but it'll just look more finished. And obviously I want to paint the legs because you are going to see the legs if you're looking at it from the side. So that's what we're going to do. This is probably going to be at a higher speed as I paint it. Everyone knows how to paint. But we'll just get these painted and distressed, and that'll be one more thing that I can incorporate into the decor I'll be showing you. And you can either watch it or not, fast forward to the distressing, whatever you choose to do. So we'll see what these look like once they're painted and distressed. Like I said, very simple, plain. I'm not gonna embellish them any, so that way I can interchange them and just use them as a base, so that when I do my decor, we have stuff at different heights and different levels. It makes it more interesting than everything being the same height. So let's get these painted and see what they look like. Okay, as you can see, I painted a coat of white on the bottom of the one and a coat of black on the bottom of the other one. By the time I painted a coat of black, the first coat of white was already dry, so I put a second coat on. Now I'm going to let these dry. The black is probably only going to need one coat, as you can see. It's pretty good coverage. So I'm going to let these dry. Once they're dry, flip them over and we're going to paint the top. So now we just wait. I'll be back to paint the top. Okay, as you can see, I have painted the bottom, I have painted the top. The black riser got one coat, bottom and top, and the white riser, I'm not going to touch it because it's still wet, got two coats, bottom and top. I was going to sand and distress both. The black one more like a Pottery Barn type finish, for any of you that are familiar with that type of finish, with the black paint and then sanded in a dark stain where it's been distressed. But I am so pleased with the coverage of the black paint with one coat. I mean, look at how awesome this covered. It's beautiful coverage with one coat, and I'm quite happy with it just like this. I decided that I'm not going to distress it. I am going to put a coat of clear wax and buff it out just to protect the paint so it doesn't get banged around and stuff like that. So I'm gonna that's what all I'm gonna do with that, is a clear coat of wax. The white, this is a really nice coverage with two coats. However, this is going to get distressed. I'm going to lightly sand it and then distress it. And another reason that I'm going to go ahead and distress this is because when this got was made and cut, the edges, as you can see a little bit, are kind of rough. They did not smooth it very well when they cut it when it was manufactured. So when I sand around the edges to distress a little bit, hopefully it'll take care of some of these rougher spots where it was cut. So this will be sanded. I will use this the antiquing wax to distress it a little bit to make it look a little bit more rustic. The black one, like I said, I was going to distress, but I'm quite happy with the coverage I got, and I think it'll look just nice the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and let these dry well overnight. The black is pretty much dry for the most part. That dried very, very quickly, and only needing one coat, you know, that was no problem. The white, however, with 2 coats, I want to make sure it's dried really well. I don't want to take sandpaper to it while it's still damp and just end up with a globby mess. And I really don't want to be adding the antiquing wax to add more of a wet product while it's still damp. So these are going to dry well overnight. In the morning, I'm going to come back, clear coat this, distress this, and we'll see how they look. These are going to stay very simple. They're going to be kind of in the background of the decor, basically just to add different height to the decor, the arrangement, so that we don't have everything just, you know, straight across horizontal. Decor always looks better when it's at varying levels. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. Let these dry. We'll be back to finish them off and see how they look once they're done. So we will have one tray done, the risers done, and then there will be a couple more videos coming with 2 other trays. Trays are very popular in home decor right now. They add a little bit of interest and variety to you know, your home decor. So we're just going to do quite a few of them because with my fall and Halloween decor, I'm going to have several little arrangements of home decor, so they'll be spread around. So it doesn't hurt to have extra ones. Even if I don't use them all, you know, all the time, I can change them out when I have several to work with. So until I come back to finish these off, I'll just say goodbye for now and we'll get these finished up. Okay, we're back with both of the risers completely dried. The paint was allowed to dry and cure overnight to make sure it was really dry before I started doing anything else with them. For the black one, as I mentioned, I'm just gonna seal it with a clear wax. I have this Waverly wax that I picked up at Walmart for just under $6. It is water-based. So again, it's very easy soap and water cleanup, which I love. I have used other furniture waxes that I've had to use solvents to clean my brushes, and it's just not pleasant to do. You have to soak it for quite a while and scrub with soap and water after you soak the wax out of it. Not fun. So hopefully this will be a lot easier to work with. And I read the directions on it. You just apply a thin layer, removing any excess, let it dry, let me see, how long does it say, 24 hours, and then you buff it to whatever sheen you want. The more you buff it, I assume the more matte it gets. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the wax to the black riser, and then the white one I wanted to slightly distress it. I mentioned there were some rough edges. Some of them I was able to smooth down just a little bit with my fingernail, but I'm going to sand these rough edges down a little bit, do a little bit of random sanding here and there to distress it, and then I want to dry brush it a little bit so it's not stark white, because the stark white does not work for me. If you do something like this and you like just the contrast of the black and white, you know, that would be great too, but I just don't like the stark white. So I grabbed a couple different colors out of my stash. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. I had a chocolate brown out, but I'm like, that's just not going to work with a white. It's too much of a contrast. So I grabbed out this warm buff and this classic caramel, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. I haven't decided. Figure it out when I get to that point. These are just apple barrel paints. You can pick them up at Walmart. I think I picked up a bundle of them in some, like, I think it was country or farmhouse colors, and I think these were in there. But you can pick these up at Walmart for about 50 cents or so. Maybe they're more now the way the prices have been going up, but they're very easy to get your hands on. There's a few brands of these acrylic paints, and I get the satin finish. I'm not a fan of the gloss for stuff like this, and the matte's just a little bit too chalky, like the chalk paint. Personal preference, I like the satin finish, but you could probably use the satin or the matte and it would work fine. The gloss, not so much on the chalk paint. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do the black riser first, just because it's going to be the easiest. This is a chalk brush I'm going to use. Chalk, wax, stenciling brushes are pretty similar. Chalk and wax brushes are pretty much interchangeable. I just use a regular brush for my chalk paint, but I have a couple of these for wax. I have a smaller one and this one, which the smaller one would have worked, but I just got the bigger one so it's quicker. And I already shook up the bottle of wax, and this is the first time I'm using this. I hope I get the results I would want. I'm just having a hard time opening this because I've never used water-based wax before, but I have no reason to think that it wouldn't give me great results. I'm going to go ahead and pause this because I'm having a hard time getting the seal off, so I'll be right back. Okay, I was able to get the seal off, and I shook it up a little bit more. It was very thick once I got the seal off, and with the seal gone, it had a lot more room to shake up in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some on my wax brush and just slap it on there. Now, one thing I am noticing is that this wax is much more watery than the ones that aren't water based. Obviously, okay, that sounds dumb, but anyway, the ones that are not water based are much oilier and creamier to use, where this is like just kind of watery, but not necessarily a bad thing, just different. Okay, so I'm just going to put a thin layer because it said to put a thin layer, and we're going to buff it out anyway. I think if you put too thick of a layer, you're going to exhaust your arms buffing it out. Just an opinion of mine. Sometimes it can get a little physically demanding when you're buffing them out, buffing wax over a larger surface, but nothing terrible. But it will work out your arm muscles when you go to buff the wax. Now I could wax the whole thing, but I'm not. I'm just gonna do the top and the sides because you're not gonna see the underside. Again, that's just personal preference. I'm just lazy and I don't feel it's necessary. So I'm just not going to. But yeah. So there's that wax, and since I have to wait 24 hours before I can buff it, tomorrow morning, which it'll be just a few moments, a few minutes for you guys, but tomorrow morning when I get up, I will go ahead and buff this out so I can show you what it looks like all buffed, because as you can see, it's very milky with the wax on it. But when I buff it off and the wax out, it should just be a nice sheen to it. So that's how it looks like with just the wax on it. So we're just going to set that aside until we wait 24 hours to buff it. I'm just taking a note of the time here for myself so I know around when I can buff it tomorrow morning. And now we're going to work on the white riser. And this little strip of sandpaper I used for the last tray, I'm going to use the same one, and just I'm going to find these rough edges first and just kind of smooth them out. Sorry for the noise, I dropped it. Did not mean to deafen you guys. I don't want to be handling this and always be running my hands across the rough edge. This is like not so pleasant. Just getting some feel. This may be a step that if you do a similar project you won't have to do because it just happened to be the way they were made when they cut them. Now, if you can't find these risers ready-made, you can probably always pick up a wood round at the craft store, like I mentioned, or if you're handy with tools, you can cut a round out of wood. And then it's got the feet, but I imagine you could pick up something similar at the craft store to use, or you could always take a dowel. These look like they're approximately, I'd say about they're an inch in diameter. You could always get a 1-inch dowel and cut them down, and it looks like there may be a, I don't know, 1.5 inches, but you could do whatever height you want, obviously. You could just get the dowel and cut them down equal sizes to make feet. You could probably use a wood thread spool or even a large wood bead to make the feet. So you could definitely make these on your own if you can't find them ready-made. Another idea is, I think if you don't want round ones and you're okay with rectangular risers, the Dollar Tree sells small wood bamboo cutting boards. You could do that and then use either the wood beads or cut down dowels or something for your feet. So there's options if you can't find something like this ready-made. Now I'm just going to go around the edge here and sand a little because some of the paint dripped when I was painting it, because I'm not the neatest painter in the world. I get it a little sloppy sometimes. So I'm just going to try to sand that down so I don't have those globs of paint. I don't want this to get super long. And I do apologize if the length of the video tends to get a little long. If you have to fast forward in spots, that's understandable. Quick sand to smooth the paint. And I'm going to just distress it just by putting more pressure a few spots around the edge, because I don't like this super brand newish look. Some spots where the paint's a little thicker, it's just going to take a little bit more effort to show a little bit of the wood. I think one more spot. One or two little spots would be good. Paper, I'm trying to protect the table and the paper's just went all over. Next project, I think I'm gonna have to tape the paper down because it's becoming quite an obstacle for me. So I'm just taking a nice soft rag and I'm gonna brush away some of the paint that I just rubbed off. And I was noticing when I turn this over, I've got a glob of paint there. I'm just going to smooth down a little bit. It's on the underside, so it doesn't matter that much, but that was quite a big glob. So I'm going to pause this briefly, put some of the paint that I'm going to use on a little dish. Obviously it'd be easier for me than from the bottle. And I think I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the classic caramel, however you pronounce it. I think the buff is just a little too light, so we're going to try the caramel. So I'm going to go ahead and squirt some of this onto a plate to use, and then I'm just going to dry brush a little bit, and then I'm pretty much going to wrap up this little section of the video once you see how it looks dry brushed, and then there'll just be a short clip at the end where I show them once this is buffed out. I'm not going to buff it on camera. Obviously buffing it is just taking a soft cloth, lint-free cloth, and just buffing it to the sheen you want. So we're going to dry brush this, and in the next clip you'll just see the finished risers. So yeah, let me get this set up to dry brush. Okay, here's the riser. I went ahead and squirted both paints onto the dish. This is the classic caramel, and this is the warm buff over here. The lighter is the warm buff. Now I didn't shake it up that well, so it's got some dark streaks in it, but that's okay. It's not going to be a big deal. I'm just going to grab a paintbrush that I happen to have. I'm using a flat one just because I think that's going to work better for me. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and use both colors, because this, I thought, by itself, I don't know if I'm going to like the way that looks. So basically, to dry brush it, I'm just going to pick up both colors a little bit and play with it. It's not anything that has to be perfect by any means whatsoever. It's just a matter of personal preference what color you use. And I just kind of blended the two, so I have something in between the two colors. This I felt was too light, and this I felt was too stark of a contrast. Like you can see it here against the white. It just kind of screams at you a little bit. And the chocolate brown would have been much worse, I think. So I'm just going to set that aside. I got just a regular paper towel, and I'm going to get as much of the paint off as I can. And it's still a little too light for my preference, so I'm going to pick up some of the caramel, and I think that's more the color I really want. So I'm going to get as much off as I can, and I'm trying to go with the grain of the wood, and I can see that the grain goes this way, so I'm just going to kind of go with that. And it's not going to be perfect by any means, because I craft, but I am not perfect at any of this stuff by any means. Like this, I probably should have patted more off, and I'm not getting it toward the edge. So like I said, it's not perfect, but we're gonna work with it. If you're doing this and it really bothers you and it's not the way you want it, you can always paint over it and start over. I'm not going to do that because it's not really that big of a deal to me. And I'm just picking up some color blended together, patting it off as much as I can, and just going back. And you can do this as much or as little as you want. And I'm pretty happy with that. It's just enough that it's not stark white. Like I said, by no means is it perfect. If I wanted to, I could even maybe go in and dry brush a darker brown, a little bit more sparing, which I may do, but I'm not going to take up a lot of time doing it on video. I think I might get the chocolate brown and do very, very little dry brushing, just to give it a little bit more depth. I think this is still a little bit too light. Just really, really get it off my brush as much as I can, so it's very little. But I'm going to go ahead in with the caramel, however you pronounce it, and where I sanded it, try to put some of this to emphasize it a little bit more, where I sanded it. Like I said, by no means is this perfect. By no means do I want it to be perfect. I'm not into the super fussy stuff. I like the shabby chic, which I'm not into as much as some people with the real pale colors, just because I raised boys, so I'm not into the pink frou-frou quite as much as some people that go shabby chic. But I do like rustic and imperfect. I feel like I would never be able to do modern style decor because everything's too perfect and crisp. But that's how it looks so far. I'm seeing a spot here in camera that I'm not seeing so much. And there it is, the little stark. That looks really right in here. It looks way deeper than it does in person. So, but anyway, you get the general idea. I do see when I was going around a couple spots on the edge that are still a little bit gloppy, so I'm going to go ahead and sand those down a little bit smooth. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to get some of the chocolate brown and do some very minor dry brushing to break up this real pale color. Like that, so right there. And you'll see that on the final little clip when I come back. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to wait 24 hours for the wax to dry good on the black riser, buff it out good. I'm going to go ahead off camera and get some of the chocolate brown and put a tiny bit of chocolate brown on here, sand down some more of the drips smooth, and then you'll just see the finished product. I think you get the general idea that I don't have to dry brush the chocolate brown in front of you. And like I said, it's a matter of playing with the colors. If you wanted this to match your decor and do a color instead of the brown, it's the same concept. So the next little clip you see will be the 2 risers finished, just showing you the finished product, and then that'll be the second tray / riser project down. I will be doing 2 more videos. I'm going to be making 1 tray and altering another tray. So by the time this little mini series type thing is done, there'll be 4 tray / riser projects. So that way when I get ready to actually do my fall and Halloween decor, I have a few options to choose from. So next clip will be the finished product. Hello everyone, so I am back with the completed risers. I allowed them to dry for the 24 hours. Actually, it's been longer than that, but I thought I would just pop on here real quick, show you what they look like done, and then if you would like to tackle a similar project, you kind of have an idea of how I did these. So the black riser that I just painted with the black chalk paint, I just lightly waxed and buffed. There is a spot here, I don't know if it's going to show up, where I got a little too vigorous when I first started buffing it, but it's barely noticeable, so it works. So I just waxed the top and the sides, and as you can see where I didn't wax it and then I touched lighter stuff and it scuffed up, but on the table you're not going to see it. It's just on the bottom, little scuff marks. So there's that, just lightly waxed and buffed, that I'll be using for Halloween. And then the white riser, I did a lot of dry brushing. I used a combination of 3 colors. I used the warm buff that I showed before, the classic caramel, or caramel, however you pronounce it, that I showed you, and then I went ahead in my craft paints and I grabbed out this nutmeg brown for a little bit of a deeper brown to incorporate. I was going to use the chocolate brown, but it was a little too dark. I wanted to keep it lighter and warmer, and basically all I did with the 3 colors is I went in and dry brushed them. If it got a little bit too dark in one spot, I just took the sandpaper and lightly took some of the paint off. So it's very forgiving. Just take as much paint off the brushes as you can. When you go in there, play with the colors until you feel comfortable. Like I said, if you get carried away, you can take the sandpaper, because I used a very fine grit, and just sand down where it got a little bit too dark, where I got carried away. So this is what it looks like completed. Some of you may think, oh, it was wood and then she painted it white and went back and there's a lot of brown, but I just played with it till I was happy with it. You can leave more white, you can add more brown, whatever works for you. And I did do the legs a tiny bit so that when it's on a table it's not stark white, and I left the bottom because I was too lazy to do the bottom and no one's going to see it anyway, unless I guess if you put it on a mirror table and someone's under the mirror looking up. But other than that, you're not going to see the bottom, so I didn't do it. But like I said, I did do the legs. When it's sitting on a table, you don't see these stark white legs under it. So these are the 2 risers that I kind of made over. Kind of simple. The video was probably too long. I could have explained it shorter, but I don't know. I could do it shorter. Then sometimes I watch a video that's short and I'm like, yeah, but how exactly did they do that step? So if it was too long, you forwarded through, no hate. I mean, I understand that completely. If you wanted to just quickly see the steps and then the finished product, it is what it is. So for those of you that did watch it all the way through, thanks a million. Really appreciate it. As you can see, it was a very easy project, so feel free to tackle something similar. It's not difficult. If it was, I wouldn't be doing it. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the risers transform from plain to a little bit of something that's going to fit in with my decor a little bit better. So if you haven't given me a thumbs up, that would be appreciated if you enjoyed the video at all. And you will be seeing 2 more projects coming up that involve trays so that I can incorporate them into my fall decor. So thanks for sticking with me and watching another video, and until next time, bye everyone.